I would just like to do a little disclaimer. I usually do something more creative when I do a tag video, but considering that this is me introducing myself to a whole new YouTube community, I'm just going to be very straightforward and basic with this tag. Second disclaimer, I usually button the top button of my shirt, but this shirt is too small and it would choke me to death. Third disclaimer, I'm not going to word all these questions exactly correctly as it were in the original tag video. So hi, I'm Wolfie, aka Daniel, aka TheReadingWerewolf. Shall we get into the questions? Question 1. How did you find out about Authortube? I was just browsing around on regular old booktube, and in the little sidebar suggestions area, I saw Authortube, and I was intrigued, and I clicked on that video, and I found Authortube. Question 2. What genre do you write? I typically write urban fantasy in the real world, as opposed to a whole entire structure of high fantasy. It's my favorite genre to read and my favorite genre to write. Question 3. What is your preferred writing tense? Point of view, the person who created this tag said category of story, but really the age range is what I would call it. My preferred tense is past tense. My preferred point of view is third person, which is ironic because the story I'm currently writing is in first person. And the age range I write for is children's in middle grade. Question 4. Are you a plotter or pantser or plantster? A planter. I think I'm kind of a plantser. I like to have a plan and to know where I'm going. However, I also like doing the actual writing, so I usually jump into that before I'm all done with the planning part. Before I jump into like the actual writing, I prefer to like know all the major events and an idea at least of how they're all connected and what order they go in. Question 5. Are you published, self-published, or yet to be published? I have self-published one book, Sea of Trees, under my pen name Wolfie Smoke. It is a children's book about two boys that really dislike each other, and they get kidnapped, and they escape from the kidnappers, and then they're lost in the woods and have to rely on each other to survive. Question 6. What publisher, literary agent, or printing company are you represented by / use, or which one is your dream one? The self-publishing thing that I use is CreateSpace. I don't really think there's much to say about that. I don't have a literary agent and I don't really have one in mind. I would like to have one eventually because I think that I want my next book to be traditionally published, but I'm still not 100% sure about that. Question 7. What Authortube related videos can you guys be expecting from my channel? I plan on doing somewhat daily vlogs every NaNoWriMo. I did one last NaNoWriMo and you can go look at that playlist. They're definitely not daily videos. I also plan on making a monthly update about how my writing is going, so it's sort of like a series called Mini Rymos. I'm trying to start it anyway. Every month I'm giving myself a word count goal and coming up with a prize that I can give myself if I make it to that word count goal. And every month I'm planning on talking about how last month went, as well as my plans for the next month. This is the Authortube tag. I need to have my book up here. Is that enough? I don't think that's enough. That's some super subtle advertising. Question 8. When did you start writing? I have been writing for an extremely long time. As long as I can remember. I think I tried to actually start writing a novel around 7. Question 9. What was the first story you've ever written? When I was really little, I took a bunch of sheets of paper and I drew a cover on it, and I made a series of book covers, like Daniel explores in the sewer, and Daniel does the race, and Daniel is king. And it was basically just a big series of me doing a bunch of crazy random things, whatever I could think of. I think I still have those covers somewhere. But the first book I ever actually remember like writing was the story about a bunch of cousins that spend the summer with their grandparents and discover a bunch of mythical creatures mixed in with the regular farm animals. It was was called The Funny Farm, and it was going to be the first book in a series where the books didn't really have that much to do with each other. It was just the same 4 characters going on a bunch of crazy adventures. Question 10. What authors inspired you the most? Mary Pope Osborne's Magic Treehouse series is definitely the books that made me interested in actually becoming an author. I really wanted to write one of these a very long series like she had, where kids go on all sorts of crazy adventures, ergo the whole Funny Farm thing. I know there are a lot of other authors, I can't think of them off the top of my head, probably because there are too many of them. Question 11. Do you schedule your writing times, or do you just write whenever you can? That's a good question. I would like to have scheduled time. I sort of do and sort of don't. I don't have like, I write every day at 8 o'clock time. I do have a timer on my phone set to go off at 8 o'clock to remind me to write if I hadn't yet that day. I'm not very stern about it though. If I have something else that I really need to get done that day, I kind of just ignore it. I try to write a little bit every day. I feel like I didn't actually answer the question. I'm trying to get a scheduled time, sort of. Not really. Question 12. Do you write on paper, on a computer, on a typewriter, some blend of the few, and also where do you write? I think that's 2 questions technically. Sea Trees, I wrote the first draft of that on pencil and paper in a notebook, but now I actually much prefer typing because I can easily take that places and I can more easily share it with my writing group. I can more easily edit it. There's so many reasons why I now prefer typing it as opposed to writing it by hand, and I'm pretty sure I've never used a typewriter in my life. I also typically write on the computer as it's sitting on the kitchen table. Question 13. I don't have 13 fingers. We're gonna count my eyes and nose. What are you most looking forward to now that you're a part of Authortube? I'm looking forward to making more writing involved videos. I have a blog where I talk about writing and I kind of just leave it at that, but now that Authortube is a thing and I'm a part of it, I'm probably going to be more encouraged to make video versions of those blog posts. Question 14! Just kidding, there is no question 14. That is the entire tag. I have now completely introduced myself to this new YouTube community. I hope you enjoyed this video and enjoyed listening to me talk, because that means you'll probably subscribe and look at other videos. I don't usually put quite so much advertisement in other videos. It's just an innocent little background plug. I'll see all of you sometime eventually, hopefully, because you'll have to come back, and I hope you do come back. That's all I'm talking about today. Bye!